Good morning, SML. We're back. It's Eminem in the morning. You know what time of year it is. It's the playoffs. Had to bring you a playoff episode. As always, I'm joined by my co-host, Matt. What's going on, Matt?
Hey man, I'm ready for these playoffs to get started. It's going to be a fun episode. It's going to be a fun next few days while we watch these playoffs unravel.
Oh, yeah. We both, in the last, we'll say 48 hours at this point when you guys are listening to it. In the last 48 hours, both you and me had play-in games to get into the playoffs. I think they went a little bit differently, but they were both really good games. Both went to overtime. Let's quickly just touch on your game first, because it's fresh on the memory as we're recording this. Maybe half an hour after it ended.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Mike and I at the beginning of the season were discussing a trade for Mike Gesicki, his tight end, and he wanted a first-round pick, and I was honestly hesitant because I thought I was going to have a really good one. I figured I took this team to throw the ball. I'm not a good passer. I'm going to lose a lot of games. Yada yada yada. So I didn't trade the pick. I was shocked to have 11 wins, and so then I'm playing Prime. I go down 17-6. I'm sure everybody thought it was over. I kind of thought it was over, but got a DJ Chark touchdown, got a nice 4th and 2 stop, and then hit Dan Arnold for a touchdown. And then, I mean, what can I say? 4th and 22, the game was in the bag, and Prime just goated it up. That's what he does.
Yeah, I don't know if Mike Gesicki is worth the first anyway, and that's coming from I like him. I like him in real life. I like him in Madden. I just don't think he's worth the first. He tends to drop a lot, at least early in the cycle. I know we didn't really get past the 2 seasons last time, but yeah, I mean, I feel like tight ends are pretty easily replaceable, and he's not like a burner with speed, so it's not like I think he's got like 84 speed, not really worth a first.
Yeah, and Dan Arnold, he's sufficed. I mean, he had a great game against Prime. He had that long touchdown that gave him the lead late. So I'm happy with that. I need defense anyway, so I'm glad I held on to the pick. But yeah, if you'd asked me at the beginning of this new cycle, hey, you think you're going to be in a play-in game week 18? I'd have told you not a chance. I can't pass. Unfortunately, me not being able to pass is partly why I lost that game. Prime has the best defense in the league statistically, and I wasn't able to make the reads when I needed to, so that was it.
All right, and then in my game, it came down to overtime. There was, I think, about 40 seconds left when I scored the game-winner touchdown. And man, that was a good game. We tied it up. We took it to overtime. D-Muse got the ball first with the Raiders, and he had the ball at the 50. It's 4th down. He throws a corner out to Waller. Looks like it's going to be open, and I really thought he caught it. But somehow Derwin James gets there and tips it away. I really don't think he got there, but Madden didn't save the replay, so I couldn't save it. And that gave me the ball, and then Austin Eckler did Austin Eckler things, and all of a sudden I got the ball on the 1-yard line with like 40 seconds to go. And I was playing for the field goal at like the 40, but then I broke off like a 30-yard run, so I was like, okay, well, let's try to get in the end zone. And I did.
Yeah, good for you.
And then I made the playoffs.
Things were looking kind of grim when you lost to Colt, and he had a great season. But you hung around, you did what you had to do, and you beat a great player in D-Muse. Don't let his record fool you. So yeah, you've made it on this episode. You'll be a subject.
If you come to me before week 1 and you tell me that after 13 games I'm going to be 6-7, I'm going to be looking at you like, what the hell went wrong? And then you tell me I make the playoffs and I'm calling bullshit. But we had a mission. We had to win out. We had to win our last 4 games, and we did it, and we made the playoffs. And we actually made it to week 18, winning in not needing any help. So that was nice. Won the last 4 games. I mean, we had a little bit of a rough patch there, but I think I put it together there towards the end of the season. All right, let's move on to our main topic of the day. The SML playoffs are here. They will be, they're not here yet, but we're releasing this Friday morning. I think scheduled advances for Friday. Let me check admin updates only. So worst case scenario, we're in the playoffs Friday at 10 p.m. Eastern. I believe we will be advancing earlier than that, but there's still a game that's up in the air. So, hey, if you're listening to this on Saturday, it's already the playoffs. So let's get excited. It's that time of year. Matt, you and me, we're going to pick the playoffs, and courtesy of the janky graphics department, aka my Photoshop when I have limited time, we have a bracket here, and we're going to update it as we go. Let's talk about every game. Let's make predictions and pick a Super Bowl winner. Let's start with Tennessee and Indianapolis. Oh, and disclaimer, this graphic might be wrong because as of 9 o'clock on Thursday, not every game has been played. So final seedings are not 100% accurate, and we did our best at figuring out tiebreakers and stuff. So there's still some games to be played. We'll just run with it. So let's start with Tennessee and Indianapolis, round 3. It's a tiebreaker. They split in the regular season. How do you see this game going?
Yeah, I mean, this is a bad matchup for Prime because, well, it's a bad matchup for anyone when you have to go against Freight Train because there's no counter to it. Once they get it lit up, you're just at the game's mercy. But I got to go with Prime here. I mean, he's the greatest player in SML history. They don't call him the GOAT for nothing. Bean is, and I've touched on this in chat, before the glitch, I think he won like 5-6 couple games, had a bunch of ties. He wasn't really lighting things up. He gets Freight Train, and it suddenly makes this huge swing in his record. I beat him twice, which probably isn't a good look for him. He struggles passing. Tannehill can really throw the game, no pun intended. So give me the Colts in a close one. Derrick Henry will keep this game close, but give me the Colts 24-19.
Prime's been in a bunch of close games. I'm looking here, and each of the last 4 games has been decided by a touchdown or less. He blew out the Texans 24-zip, and before that, he got blown out by the Bills, weirdly enough. But most of these games this season have been close, even against teams that you should expect Prime to maybe win by multiple scores, like the 49ers and Tiny. Yeah, Tiny always plays Prime tough, but 23-20 when there's a difference of 9 wins between the two teams, it's a little concerning. I said it on our last show. I'm a little bit concerned for Prime because I don't think he has a quarterback that he can trust. I want to lean Tennessee here, but I'm not convicted enough in that stance to argue with you about it. I want to lean Tennessee because of this. The last time the Colts and the Titans played, that was week 8. That was a long time ago. A lot of things can change. And the Titans, who are 13-4, have really gotten a handle on this team. The Titans win over the Colts came in week 3, which was, Prime still getting used to this kind of bad, mediocre team with a bad quarterback. And that was a 7-point game. And he still put up 29 points. The next meeting, it was 28-21. So, going off the record here, I mean, it's looking like Prime's going to put up 28-ish points. All right, and then you got to question Prime's defense. Can he stop Derrick Henry? Can he hold the Titans to less than that 28-30 range that I think Prime's going to score in? I don't know. Prime is 5th in scoring defense, which is helpful, but the Tennessee Titans are 1st in scoring offense, which really... All right, so for the sake of the show, I'm going to agree with you, and I'm going to say Indianapolis. But for those of you that are listening, just know that I think the Titans are going to win this game. But for the purpose of the show, we'll move the Colts on. So the Colts...
And Prime, just to bring up a quick point, Derrick Henry has not ran for more than 100 yards in a game against Prime in their 2 meetings. He went 94 in the Titans win, and he went 57 in the Titans loss. So Prime has bottled him up. I don't know how he held him to 57 yards. That baffles me. He doesn't have to stop Henry. He has to contain him. But it's going to be a close game because of Henry. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. So I think this is the toss-up, but I just can't bet against the GOAT.
And so that's going to set up a divisional round rematch of our last Super Bowl, Super Bowl 43. In the divisional round in the AFC, you got the 1 seed Baltimore Ravens going up against the Indianapolis Colts. What's your take on this one?
Yeah, as great as Prime is, I think this is where the train ends, and I think as great as Prime is, he can't overcome Wentz. In our game that we had, the play-in game, Wentz missed some throws that allowed me to stay in it. I can call my defense not having to worry about Wentz and being afraid of what he can do, which helps stop Taylor a little bit more. QP is an elite player with a dynamite team in the Ravens. Baltimore's going to win that game. I don't see Prime being able to win that one.
Yeah, I mean, QP's offense is crazy. He's averaging 150 rushing yards a game on top of almost 200 passing yards, which 200 passing yards, that's not a lot of yards. But when you throw in the 150, that's 350 total yards of offense right there. That's top 10 in the league. Combine that with top 5 in scoring offense. I think Prime has a good defense, but I think the Ravens have a better defense. Second against the run, which, Prime's going to try to run the ball, and you're going up against the top 2 run defense. Not going to be great for you, so I'm going to go Baltimore in this one.
Yeah, even if Prime and QP each had really good teams, I still don't know who to pick. QP's that good. The roster discrepancy here, I don't know. I can't pick against QP and the Ravens.
Oops, I'm screwing up the Photoshop. All right, I got it. Yeah, I mean, for the record, I really don't think it matters. I think if QP ends up playing Bomber in that game, then I think that's a closer to a toss-up for me, but I'm almost going to say QP might just go out and beat anybody in that divisional round in his first playoff game. Although, of course, I mean, QP has done it before where, before last season, everybody was talking about how, maybe QP is a bit of a folding chair and struggles at the playoffs. But you know what? He had the Lions and he won the Super Bowl and he made the NFC Championship the season before that. So I think that's out the window now. I don't know if it matters who QP plays, at least in the divisional round.
I agree.
All right, so that is one AFC Championship team that we have picked. Let's move on now. Chargers and Steelers, which could happen or could not happen. We're not really sure about that one yet, but as of right now, it looks like Chargers and Steelers. That's my game, so I guess I'll take it. I really don't know how to feel about this one. I played Spades earlier in the season, and I don't believe it went very well for me. I can't really... No, it didn't. I got my doors blown off, 49-14. I'm playing a lot better now than I was then. I threw 4 picks in that game. Didn't run the ball as much as I should have, but I was down for a lot of the game. So I just have to be able to stop the run, and I think I can do that, but I'm still taking the Steelers in this game.
Yeah. So here's Spades. Spades' greatest strength is his greatest weakness. He runs a scripted offense. I was in his division. I was in the AFC North with him last half cycle, whatever. And we split. He kind of like you. I think he kind of beat the brakes off me. But one thing I noticed when we went into the second game was that he was pretty much doing the same thing he did the first one. His offense is a well-oiled machine. He knows it very well, and he executes it. But if the opponent knows that well-oiled machine, you could kind of counter it. I mean, you're going to get stretches and inside zones to Najee. He loves Hardman. He loves play action. He scrambles with Mariota. Based on his formations, once you play him enough, you can kind of figure, what's coming. And I think that's probably going to be, spoilers for later, probably his downfall. But I don't think you've played him enough, I know you haven't, to really have that kind of knowledge of his game yet. So I think it's closer than your first matchup, but I'm going Pitt as well.
I want to look up what my all-time record against him is real fast, which I have pulled up here. Spades. That was our first time playing. No, I played him twice last cycle. So I'm 1-2 against him all time. And I give up an average of like 48 points, which is not good through 3 games. Yeah, I've given up almost 150 points in 3 games against him. So not feeling great against this one, but if I can stop the run, I think I can. You know, I'm not going to try to give out my game plan here, but I have one. I think it's a good one, but I say that every week. So I'm still going to take the Steelers. I give it like a 75-25 Steelers. Like percent chance of winning, not score.
Yeah.
Although that could be the score too.
If this is a playoff matchup next season or maybe the one after that, maybe I change my mind once you've got a little bit more experience playing him under your belt. Because like I say, it's a well-oiled machine. You're smart. You're good. You're going to pick up on it. I just don't think you've had a chance yet. So, yeah, I'm going to go him. Pitt.
I might have. His game plan last time, well, he was out Najee, so it might have been a little bit different. But Kalen Ballage ran for 190 on me. So I think I might be screwed if Najee is healthy. But no, I mean, his game plan last game that I played was predictable yet unstoppable. So hard to say. All right, our last game in the AFC for the wild card round will be the Cleveland Browns going up against whoever the hell wants to win the AFC East. It's not the Dolphins, apparently, but, you know, they could still win it.
Yeah, I don't care who wins it, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this one. Bomber's going to win this game. I know he's struggling. I think he's lost 3 in a row, but all 3 of those opponents are better than the AFC East winner, no offense. Bomber wins, he wins handedly, and he moves on. That's it.
So, the Dolphins have had a rough couple of weeks. They're currently 8-9 after their Week 18 game. They were 8-6, so doing the math here, that's 3 straight losses. All right, so 2 of them are forgivable. The 1 seed in the NFC, the Saints. All right, that's fine. You only lost by 6. And then, you know, you kind of get your ass handed to you by the Titans, who are the 2 seed in the AFC. That's fine. Those are 2 forgivable losses. You walk into Week 18, you need 1 win. You were going up against a 3-14, well, 2-14 team at the time, Patriots team, who you've already played this season to the exact same result, and you lose by 3 points. Oh, by the way, Week 1 you played the same team with a brand new team, so that's okay. You know, you're getting used to this Dolphins team. It's not great, but it's not bad. And you lose by 3 to the Patriots Week 1. That's fine. Now you're here 17 weeks later. You need 1 win to make the playoffs. And you can't beat a 2-win team. I'm sorry. Listen, if Woods doesn't beat the Jets and the Dolphins win the division, which by the time this episode releases will have already happened, then just delete the AFC East from the playoffs, because Mike, I'm sorry, you just don't deserve to win the division. So I hope for your sake that the Bills win the division, because I don't. That's just tough. And now on the flip side, let's look at the Bills' schedule. The Bills have they lost Week 17, but they kicked the crap out of the Patriots. They beat the Panthers, huge win. They beat the Buccaneers, huge win. They kicked the crap out of the Patriots again. So they've won 4 out of the last 5 games to get back into this division race. They're currently sitting at 8-8 as we are recording this. They play the 3-13 Jets later tonight. So, like I said, by the time this episode releases, this division will have been decided. I think we're both leaning Bills here, just because, you know, KJ, we love you, but, you know. That being said, yeah, that's all there is to talk about, is who's going to win the AFC East. It's not about who's going to beat Bomber. It's about who's going to win the AFC East because it doesn't matter. They're both going to lose to Bomber. And that's why we have it say AFC East. And we're going to have Bomber moving on.
Yeah, and Bomber knows the formula to win. I mean, if the Monty game, I watched it today, yesterday, whatever, and he was up 7-0. Monty throws a pick right to him. His cornerback runs out of stamina, so he gets tackled at the 2. 7-0 lead, early, ball at the 2, first and goal. He gives it to Chubb, right? No. He throws a pick 6, 7-7. He's not doing that in the playoffs. He just gives it to Chubb there and scores a touchdown. I think he wins that game. He ends up losing it. So I'm going to pump the brakes on the panic over Bomber, especially against AFC East. Let's push him in. Let's push him to the next round.
Yeah, Bomber, I mean, we kind of were touching on it pre-show, but Bomber has struggled of late, but against good teams. It's not like he's losing to bad teams. Let me make sure I pull up the schedule before I am wrong about something. He lost to Monty, lost to Spades, he lost to Noel, who's, as you look over there, is the 2 seed in the NFC currently. And he lost to QP. So that's, 4 out of his last 5 games are losses, but they're all to good teams. Mm-hmm. Oh, I forgot he lost to QP before that. So 5 out of his last 6 losses.
Wait, he's only got 4 losses.
I'm very confused. Hang on a second.
He beat QP the first time. Or he lost to QP, then beat him.
Ah, you're right. Okay. It was the Browns-Ravens bye-week Browns-Ravens thing that threw me off.
Very confusing.
You're right. So, Bomber's been losing, yeah, but he's been losing to good teams. And yes, he's been losing by multiple scores, which is concerning. But let's not act like it's the end of the world. I think the AFC East winner, who shall not be named, is the perfect kickstart to get Bomber back on track, get him back in the win column, get him back comfortable, and then he gets to go take on Pittsburgh in the second round of the playoffs. Speaking of Pittsburgh Browns, let's talk about it. They met just last week in Week 17. Steelers won 24-6, which is not very good for Bomber. But Bomber won the first matchup 23-14. So if you're going to average the points together, it looks like the Steelers are the favorite in this matchup. I don't know how you could say on paper that they're the favorite.
Yeah, I mean, this is a good match. I mean, they're going to settle the tiebreaker between 2 really good AFC North teams. I mean, the whole division almost made the playoffs. But I think the formula is simple, and is Bomber going to stick to it or is he not? And when he beat Spades, Nick Chubb, 23 rushes. When he lost, Nick Chubb, 9 rushes. I understand that Spades has a great rushing defense. I had that team last half cycle. I had the number 1 ranked rushing defense with them. He has the number 1 ranked rushing defense. But in both cases, who the number 1 ranked defense can't really stop? Freight Train. And if Bomber sticks to his plan, no matter what Spades does on offense, and runs Chubb, passes to Chubb when it's lit up, he's going to win that game. I think Bomber will stick to it. I think he's been fooling around these last few games a little bit. 9 rushes, that's not Bomber. Chubb's going to get north of 18 carries. I'm going to say north of 20, and Bomber wins a super close, high-scoring game.
Here's the deal. The Steelers have a very good rushing offense. They're third in the league, averaging over 150 yards on the ground a game. So that's awesome. That's great. But let's take it to the flip side. You said they have a great rush defense, which they do. They're currently first in the league in yards allowed. However, when you throw those two things together, a great rushing offense, which is a ball control offense, they're going to naturally give up fewer yards because there's less time, for the other team to be on the field. Combine that with the fact that, Mariota's only got 20 interceptions, which is not great, but it's not bad. And a 71% completion rate. That's a lot of clock ticking that's going on. So I think that first ranking might be a little bit misleading, and I think Bomber's going to be able to take advantage of it. He's not going to make the same mistakes that he made in Week 17. And maybe this was an outcome that he foresaw, and maybe in the back of his head, I don't know if he would ever admit to it, but maybe in the back of his head somewhere, he was like, I'm going to try to play a little bit differently here so that on the off chance we meet up in the playoffs, he's not saying, all right, I know exactly what's going to happen. Or if he is, it's going to be wrong. So I think Bomber's going to come out here. He's going to get back to his normal script. Like I said, he's coming off a win against the AFC East, which is what he needs to get back in that win column. I'm going to take Bomber in this game.
Yep, I think it's close. But Bomber's he knows what Spades wants to do. I don't know if Spades will switch it up. And I'm excited. That's going to be one of the highlight games for me in the entire playoffs, is if Cleveland and Pittsburgh meet up. That whenever they play, I'm going to cancel whatever I'm doing. I want to watch that game.
Now, this is entirely dependent on Bomber's mindset. If he can come out and he can shake off those demons that have, been ragging on him the last couple of weeks, he'll be fine. If he comes out and he looks like he's going to struggle against the Dolphins or the Bills, then all right, maybe I'm a little bit worried. Maybe I change my pick for this game. But I don't think that's going to be the case. I think he's going to get it right. He's been here before. He's a champion. He's going up against Spades, who has, in the SML, at least limited playoff experience. He's still relatively a new owner, so not much to say about that. But all right, that's going to take us to the AFC Championship game. I promise this is the last AFC game we're going to talk about because it's the only one, and then we'll hop over to the NFC. Maybe we'll put a timestamp at the beginning. If you just want to skip the entire AFC section, we'll let you. So that takes us Ravens, Browns. That's yet another rematch of the second best division in the SML, which we'll get to later. That would be if I believe they split in the regular season. Correct me if I'm wrong.
They did.
They did. We just talked about that. Right, they played back-to-back games, at least on Bomber's end, and they split it. Bomber won the second matchup. So Bomber put the hammer on him in Week 14, but QP laid the hammer in Week 12. This is as close to a true toss-up as I can possibly imagine.
Yeah, I agree. I have to go with my gut, and I think, even though I just said, don't panic on Bomber, that was when he was playing the AFC East. This is QP, and I'm going to panic a little bit. His offense doesn't look as good. He's throwing a lot of interceptions, and you can't do that against QP. You can do that against Monty, who will just throw him right back to you. You can do that against the AFC East. He can't do it against QP because QP is not going to do it versus him. He's got a great team, great offense. QP will be locked in. He's a great player in the playoffs, and I expect him to win by 2 scores. I think it's going to be a close game. I just think he pulls away late.
So this is our season 43 champion going up against our season 42 champion for a spot in the Super Bowl in season 44. I think this is kind of what we all predicted at the start, right after the redraft. We're like, hey, our last 2 champions, they're in the same division at this time. It's going to be really interesting. And now we get treated to an AFC Championship game between the two of them. This is very tough for me because I don't know how to feel about it. But what I feel like is, I feel like QP has been the best player in the league for the last 3 seasons. And I think he is right now, too. And for that reason, I'm going to take the Ravens. Bomber's been very good. Bomber won a title. Bomber made it to the AFC Championship the season after he won the title. QP is coming off. He's the defending champion. He made the NFC title game the season before that. So, I mean, these resumes, at least for the last 3 seasons, are identical. I don't have their records right in front of me or anything, but I'd have to imagine they're extremely close as well. I just feel like QP is playing better right now, and I think he has been better so far this cycle, and for that reason, I'm going to go with the Ravens.
Yeah, no, like I said, I totally agree with that. That's an exciting matchup, obviously. If Bomber can get Freight Train going early, that's a big swing of momentum for him. But I agree with you. I do think QP is the best player in the league, and and letting him get the Ravens is criminal. I know I'm partly responsible for that because I could have taken him, but too good of a team, too good of a player. He's gonna win.
Part of me is rooting for QP, being that I'm a Ravens fan, and part of me is going to be really sad if he does win the Super Bowl, because I'm like, that's my team. I should have won with them, but I didn't. And now I'm gonna be cucked and see another guy win with my team. That's okay. Mike sees it happen all the time. So me and Mike will be in the Lonely Guy Cuck Club. That's hard to say. All right, let's move on to the NFC finally, as we're 30 minutes into this recording. Let's finally talk about the NFC. Let's start Green Bay, Tampa Bay, the battle of the two-lettered teams.
Yeah, the battle of the Bays.
GBTB.
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm just going to preface my entire NFC, well, most of my NFC predictions here. To me, the NFC comes down to what have you shown me in the past? And I'm just not going to waver from what you've shown me in the past. And Tampa Bay, Green Bay, Noel, I was in his division last cycle. I wasn't all that impressed. I beat him when he had the Seahawks this cycle. He was a lot better, but he hasn't proved it to me. Doinkface, this dude can throw the football, and he's got the best quarterback ever. Maybe not the best Madden quarterback, but man, Brady's passes have some zip on them, and he knows how to pass. I think he wins this game, and I don't think it's close.
All right, so here's what the Packers have working for them. This is their defense. They have a very good defense. Yes, they give up a solid to average amount of rushing yards in game, just under 100. That's okay. But he's second against the pass, which is going to be great against Tampa Bay. He's third in total yards, third in total points. Let's talk about what he can do offensively, and that is not a ton. Not a ton. He doesn't throw the ball that much. Actually, this is like remarkably few offensive plays that I'm looking at it. He has like maybe 550 total offensive plays, which seems really low. I don't know why. Maybe he likes to chew clock or something. I don't know. Only 3,400 passing yards, but 33 touchdowns to just 11 picks. That's really good. I don't know if that's going to keep going. Something's got to give, and we have to see a regression to the mean at some point. I think this is a good matchup between the two of them. I think it's going to be a good game, but I just believe less in the Packers, and I think their inability to move the ball, not their inability to score, because they're average in scoring, but their inability to move the ball, as they rank in the mid-20s in yardage for every category, I think is what's going to hinder them, because Tampa Bay is not going to struggle to run the ball. Jay Smoove is not going to they're not going to struggle to move it. And on top of that, they have a solid defense themselves. Mm-hmm. Their rushing offense, not great. It's all right. But top 10 in passing, top 10 in scoring. I'm going to take Tampa Bay in this game.
Yep. I think Noel's biggest hope is that it's Green Bay, maybe it snows. Maybe that throws Brady off. It probably won't affect him because he's so good, but if Noel, and this is a prove it game for me, if Noel beats him, hey, I'm on the Noel train. I just, like I prefaced, what have you shown me before? And I know Doinkface is new, but I've played him. I've seen him play in that division. He beat Faz once, maybe twice by the end of this recording, or by the time you're hearing this recording. He's going to move the ball. His offense is not going to be stopped by, I don't care how good your defense is. So, yeah, Tampa Bay's moving on.
Yeah, so that's going to set up a rematch. That's going to be New Orleans, Tampa Bay. That's a round 3 game. And let me quickly pull up the schedule to see what they did previously. The Saints won the first matchup 48-35, and the Bucs won the second matchup 35-14. So that's the number 1 seed in the NFC. It's the New Orleans Saints. That's future. Which, okay, guys, I know most of you have not seen future be great. Like half the league, probably. But a couple of cycles ago, future was pretty awesome. No Super Bowl appearances, to my recollection, but he was winning 11, 12, 13 games a season consistently. And it looks like he's finally returned to form. You know, for a good year there, or two, the ongoing joke was, oh, Future's back. Is Future back? Is he really back? Well, I'm here to say he's back. He grabbed the 1 seed in a very competitive conference. Future's back.
Yeah, Future's back, and I'm one of those guys that doesn't know anything about his prior success. So, again, my mantra with the NFC, what have I seen from you? And yes, he did beat Doinkface in a close one, and then got beat pretty handedly. Obviously, the score doesn't tell the whole story, but it looks like he lost by 21. Future's playing good. He's just something about that team. He's found a way to utilize Kamara like we really haven't seen before, because he's not fast and he doesn't have great abilities, but he's utilized him. He's using Michael Thomas, who is not necessarily a profit Madden guy that everybody wants. He's 99 overall, but nobody ever really wants him. He doesn't light it up when it comes to the team draft. Oh, I want to get the Saints for Michael Thomas. He's got him playing great. That defense is good. Klink was locked down with him too. But again, I don't care how good your defense is. I am so impressed by Doinkface's offense with a good quarterback. He had Rodgers in Las Vegas, and he has Brady. I think he is a product of those quarterbacks with his offense because of how they can zing it in there. I'm going to go with an upset here, and I know this is the second time we picked the 7 seed to win the first round, but unlike the AFC, I'm picking that 7 seed to go to the championship, the conference championship.
Wow.
Give me Tampa Bay.
Okay, so yeah, we said Prime was going to lose in the AFC, and now you got the 7 seed in the title game. Here's the deal. I just spent a couple of minutes hyping up Future. Some of this may come as a surprise to some of you. Others know where I'm about to take this. Future was very good. In fact, dating back to season 25, he's still 4th in wins. In total wins, he's still 4th. That's how good he was, that he's been mediocre for the last 2 years, and he's still 4th in total wins. Which, that's awesome. Now, on the flip side of that, he's 4-12 in the playoffs. Which, you know, the running joke is that I'm the folding chair because I can't win in the playoffs. I have a winning percentage in the playoffs 150 points higher than Future does. Future is 4-12. That's a 250 winning percentage in the playoffs. That's not good. 250 win percentage, I mean, like, in theory, you'd want to be 500 in the playoffs. I mean, realistically, you want to be 100, but that's unrealistic. And for that reason, I think history is going to repeat itself, and I think Future's going to lose to the Bucks. And I'm going to agree with you. 7 seeds going to the NFC title game.
And for you listeners, before we get to the next game, we didn't plan this out. We are winging our predictions. Meats doesn't know who I'm picking, and I don't know who Meats is picking. So it's kind of crazy that we are picking the same, but I promise you it's not intentional. If there is a discrepancy, we will address that in the next round or whatever round their discrepancy's in. I mean, there's been a couple of games here where I could be like, I could go either way. Like, okay, I could have taken Green Bay. I have faith that Noel is back. But, you know, he was never great in the playoffs either. Looking up his playoff record, 3-5, which is interesting because I know he made the playoffs a lot more than that, but that must have been preseason 25, which was 20 seasons ago. So Noel's not great in the playoffs either. I mean, like I said, I mean, I could be swayed either way on a couple of these. I don't think we're going to have an issue in the wild card round between me and you. I think
it's pretty clear cut who the favorites are, and I don't know if we're really going to be picking upsets. But we've got 2 straight upsets here out of Tampa Bay, and now Tampa Bay is in the NFC title game. Let's move on and see who Tampa Bay is going to be playing, and let's talk about New York Giants versus Carolina Panthers. The New York Tanks versus the Carolina Fazes.
Yeah, if I'm Paulie, I think outside of Tampa Bay, this is probably my least wanted matchup. Paulie can't stop the run. Statistically, yeah, he's not the worst. He's middle of the pack against the run. But he plays in the NFC East, which isn't that good. Whatever Dump is doing this season, but and the rest of it, they're not that good, and so that inflates his numbers a little bit. But Faz can run, and McCaffrey's great at it, and Faz can pass. And the thing with Paulie, you know what he's going to do. He's going to play cover 3. He's going to base a line. He has, for some reason, there must be some reason he does it, he backs his coverage off. The last guy you want to be predictable on defense against is Faz. And it really comes down to, is Jordan Love going to lose? Is he going to lose this game for Faz? He makes terrible throws. I know Faz blames him a lot, and people give him a bad time for, oh, you don't have Josh Allen, you can't pass. Jordan Love ain't that great. But if I'm Paulie, gosh, I don't want to see Faz here. And this is the matchup that we think is going to happen. And I think that Faz wins this game close, because Paulie's a good player. He's going to play ball control, RPOs, run the ball, short passes, check downs. He's not going to let Faz blow him out of the building, but Faz is going to win.
I don't buy into the whole Faz can't pass thing, because even pre Josh Allen, Faz was probably the best passer in the league. And that was, developing a rookie quarterback, and that was with Kirk Cousins. So I believe that Jordan Love has cost the Panthers a couple of games, and that's going to happen when you trade for a young guy who you need to dev up. That happens. He's not going to be perfect right off the bat. He'll be fine in a couple of seasons, but he's not great right now. Let's take a look at the Panthers' losses. They lost to the Saints. They lost to the Falcons. Then they didn't lose at all for a long time. And then they come out and have lost 3 straight. They've lost to the Bills, which I don't know how Woods is getting all these big wins over people, but that's fine. He lost to the Buccaneers, which does not bode well for a potential deep playoff run, by multiple scores. And he lost to the Saints. And, by the way, he plays Week 18. He plays the Buccaneers again, so we'll see how that one goes. Checking on game times. Theoretically, they've already kicked off, but I don't know if they have or not. Matt, you can check on that while I'm talking.
I think they have.
He's been struggling, but his losses have all been to good teams, except for maybe the Bills. But the Bills are probably going to make the playoffs, so I don't even know if you can discount that one. As for the Giants, going back to what you said about how, what have you shown me lately? Well, okay, here we've got a guy who's picking in the top 6 in the draft, who turns around and goes 12-5 the following season with a way worse team, by the way, which is, it's just, I have no explanation that I could probably say out loud, and I might have to reserve it for the truth when I never win a title. But that's fine. You know what? Paulie has bounced back. I don't know what happened last season. I'm mostly just giving him crap. I do think he was probably tanking, but, he says, he was just out of it. That's fine. Whatever. If that's what you're going to say, then that's fine. I believe you. But he's back. He had a bad season. Everybody can have a bad season. DW. Sorry, that was mean. We just talked good about you last week. Had to mention you because you're our super fan. But he's back, and he's had a pretty easy schedule. But he's winning his games. And, you can only play your schedule that's out there, right? He lost to the Buccaneers, which seems to be a pattern here. 13-16, weird low-scoring game. But all the rest of his wins have been pretty solid wins. He did get blown out by the Rams, which that's not great. He lost to the Cowboys. But he beat the Saints earlier in the season. And he beat the Falcons early in the season. But again, this has been a really soft schedule, especially in the second half. Whereas, discounting Dump because he's having a bad season and a lot of real life stuff, I'm the only winning record that he has played since week 11. Which doesn't set you up for a long-term playoff run. And I think Paulie might be a little bit of a product of his schedule this season. So I'm gonna go with the Panthers, even though Faz has not played well the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I agree. That Giants team is really good somehow. I don't know how they're so bad in real life, but a good Madden team. They got Barkley, who I don't care if he's star. He's going to be easy to dev because he's a running back. He's fast. They got speed at receiver, speed at tight end. Their defense is surprisingly good. They got a superstar corner. Then the other one's really fast and good. But Danny Dimes is probably going to let him down. He needs to get a quarterback. Yeah, I agree with you, and I think this is a bad matchup for Paulie with Faz because he telegraphs his defense so much. I think Faz will attack.
Okay, I have good news. As we're recording, the Packers are up by 18. So,
all right, and the Panthers are up 27-20 in the fourth.
That looks like they're gonna grab that 2 seed. So that looks like at least one of our predictions is right. I almost want to like put a window capture on here and just watch the end of this Panthers-Bucks game, but it looks like the Panthers are gonna drag it out as they're inside the red zone as we're talking.
Yeah.
So okay, theoretically our thing holds up. It just depends on how the AFC North plays out. For now, we'll see. We'll see if this looks really bad tomorrow morning or not. I don't know. Anyways, right. So we both took Carolina, correct?
Correct.
All right, you heard it. Baz is moving on. Let's talk Arizona and Atlanta. I'll let you take it first.
Yeah, I think this is an intriguing matchup. I know it's Dan, but that Falcons team not exactly amazing, while as the Cardinals are amazing. Dan's kind of found something with Malcolm Brown, a little power run game, and then he mixes in Patterson and that the rookie, I think his name is Hawkins. Excuse me, it's Hawkins. And I don't know if Pitts is going to be back for this game. I think if he's not, then NYT needs to really take advantage. But I don't know. Like, even though Prime has a bad team and Dan has a bad team, it's just hard to pick against guys like this in the playoffs. They're going to come in prepared and they're going to execute. And for the most part, they're not going to beat themselves. So this can be a really close game. I think Dan's going to lean on the running game. And I think Dan squeaks out a close one.
Yeah, I think it's been weird that the Cardinals have struggled at times this season. They started 0-2, so, doing the math, they're 10-5 in their last 15 games, which is good. But at the same time, they've got multi-score losses to the Browns and to the Titans. It's just... and to the Panthers. It's just, I don't know if NYT has it in them to pull out that NYT magic one more time, at least this season. I'm not going to say NYT's not going to win a playoff game this cycle, because somehow he always finds a way. I don't know. He will always upset somebody, like every cycle, without fail. I just don't think it's this game. I don't think the Cardinals have it in them. They on top of that, they haven't played a tough schedule since week 10. Since week 10, their only opponent with a winning record has been the Colts in a game that they lost. So I can't for the what I just said about the Giants, I can't turn around and say that's a good thing for the Cardinals. So I have to take the Falcons in this one.
Yeah, I'm excited for this one though, because I mean NYT's, like you said, he finds a way. He doesn't just jump off the page as like elite or anything, but he's always in games. He's competitive and he'll shock you. So, but it's hard to pick against Dan. And like I said, he's found something in that running game, and he'll have to lean on it if Pitts is out. And I think Pitts is out. I think he squeaks it out.
All right, so that takes us to the divisional round, and I don't know if our keen-eyed viewers can see anything here, but let's count them up. 1, 2, 3, 4 teams remaining that all belong to the same division, which is unbelievable. This is the first time in the SML that we've had 4 teams from the same division make the playoffs, let alone all make it to the divisional round. Now, it would be impossible for them all to win a game, I think. I think that would be impossible, right? Yes. Because no, it wouldn't be impossible.
No, it wouldn't be.
The
we actually have
the one
them.
seed could win.
Yeah.
We don't project that happening, but it very well could. It's the best division in the league, and it's not the division I thought it was going to be. So I'm impressed, guys. I mean, you kind of been beating up on each other, and it almost kind of screwed some of you, Faz. But you're all in the divisional round, at least in our projections. Oh man, I don't know who to take here. Carolina and Atlanta.
Yeah, this is just going to come down to these two guys know each other well. They're both two of the...
Someone say it's going to be low scoring. Please. Somebody say it's going to be low scoring.
Well, I don't know about that. But what I will say is you have two guys that know each other well. You have two guys that prepare really well. And if I'm Dan, that when he beat Faz the first time, he rattled him with that run game. Faz called Dan boring, and he can only win boring. I don't care. A win's a win. And honestly, in my experience, I have had success over Faz occasionally, and I did it by playing boring. He gets frustrated when you run on him, and Dan's going to have to do that. However, I don't know if Dan's team matches up well against Faz, and for that reason, and honestly, I should, if I had a coin, I'd flip it, and that'd be my decision. I'm dead serious. I just don't have one. I got to go with my gut, and I'm going to take Faz here.
Okay, cool. We get to disagree. All right, so it's pretty clear to me, and I think everybody, that Teddy Bridgewater is just not the answer for the Falcons. That was evident a couple of weeks ago when somebody said it was going to be a low-scoring game, and then Teddy Bridgewater came out and threw 5 interceptions against the Panthers, and suddenly there's been 99 points scored total, and the final score is 59-40. Which, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but that's got to be damn close to the highest scoring game in SML history, if not number 1. I think if you're Dan, I think you got to start Matt Ryan in this game, and I think Matt Ryan's a better quarterback as it stands right now. Going forward, that won't be the case. Bridgewater is not the future, but he's got more of a future. But you got to keep the ball on the ground. You keep the ball on the ground, and you stop forcing it to Kyle Pitts, and suddenly now it's going to be a low-scoring game, and I think the low-scoring game favors Dan. And I think, I agree with the toss-up. But the reason I want to take Dan in this game is because what I just said. Prior to the Bucs game in Week 18, the Panthers have lost 3 straight games. And let's check in on that game while we're talking about it. If I can find it.
I've got it pulled up. It's 41-20 Panthers.
Well, that escalated quickly. All right.
It sure did.
So, yeah, the Panthers are coming off a win over the Bucks, but before that they've lost 3 straight games. I think the momentum is there more for Dan, who's had a better season. I think there's no way that Dan's going to throw 5 picks again. Some of those were garbage time picks where he was just trying to keep up. That's fine. But there's no way that Dan's going to throw 5 picks again. If I'm him, I have to start Matt Ryan in this game. I think that might be the difference. And you keep the ball on the ground. And the ball on the ground, the lower the scores, the fewer the possessions, I think it favors the Falcons. And that's because the Panthers are first in the league against passing defense. I mean, they have the best passing defense in the league. And on top of that, they're 4th in scoring. So if you can limit possessions, you're going to have a better chance at winning this game against a guy that can put up 35 points if he wants to.
Yep.
Or 60, as we have seen. So I'm going to take the Falcons. And since you said it's a coin toss, are you cool with me moving the Falcons? Because I feel slightly better than a coin toss on this one.
Yeah, not to spoil my next pick, but it doesn't matter who wins this game.
Uh-oh. Oh, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. All right, so we've got the Falcons moving on as I fumble the buttons in Photoshop again. And that sets up Tampa Bay and Atlanta in the NFC Championship game. Winner goes on to play Baltimore. Who you got and why?
Yeah, so I mentioned I don't care if Faz wins or Dan wins. Whoever wins, I'm still picking Doink. I have to close my eyes at what's happening right now in front of my face with Faz up by 21 and taking a knee. But Doinkface, he's got a great offense. There might have been some backups in this game. I don't really know. I think I saw something about it in chat. But his window is small, in my opinion. Brady is going to regress. He'll still be usable next season. After that, his throw power tanked for Pauly. No pun intended. And so, and I wish I could say that was on purpose. That was really, really dynamite. But his clock is ticking unless he somehow finds a magic way to get a really good quarterback. And I believe in this guy. I'm impressed with what I see. He should have beat Faz in the AFC playoffs when he had the Raiders. And that's how he got the term Doinkface. So, yeah, I'm taking Tampa Bay to go to the Super Bowl.
I think you're insane. And here's why. Let's look at the path to get just to this in our simulation just to get here. Okay? And you're going to tell me who's beaten better teams. So we've got the Bucks. They beat the Packers and the Saints. Both teams that have struggled in the playoffs against a guy that, we haven't seen a whole lot out of. So we're going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say, okay, he beat both of them. That's fine. That means he's solid in the playoffs. Now you're going up against Dan, who has beaten Faz, who's a multi-time champion, and NYT, who's made a Super Bowl before. So on the surface this season, yeah, you can say New Orleans and Green Bay are better. But all time, NYT and Faz have been significantly better. And yeah, it's a what have you done for me now league. Yes, this season is the most important season. But when it comes down to it, Dan has proven that he has a winning pedigree despite only one Super Bowl in the last 10 seasons or something. He's proven he can get there. And as long as he doesn't fat finger himself out of the playoffs again, he'll be fine. And that's why I got to go with Atlanta.
And I don't have much of a rebuttal. Dan beat Doinkface both times this season, albeit in close games. And I'm going against my what I prefaced this NFC with of, what have you proven to me? Because obviously Faz and Dan have proven everything since they have Simbardies. I'm telling you, Meats, I got a feeling about Tampa Bay. I just do, and I don't care what I just witnessed. I got a feeling. I realize I'm going against all odds because he's the 7 seed. He's going to be on the road every game. I just got a feeling about this dude, and I'm not wavering. He's my guy.
It will be one of the most legendary playoff runs in SML history, short of somebody last cycle who beat Prime and Dan and somebody else in the playoffs on the way to a Super Bowl appearance. All right, so since we disagree vehemently about that one, I'm just going to move them both down. And that means, you can make your prediction. I'll make my prediction. So we got the Ravens versus either the Bucs or the Falcons. So you can take Ravens, Bucs. I'll take Ravens, Falcons.
All right. Well, as high as I am on Doinkface, we both agree QP is the best player in the league. He's got a top Madden team. When you break it down, position by position, look at the ratings. He's got a top Madden team. I don't care if they're not top 5 overall or whatever, but I think the buck stops here. Gosh, these puns are getting out of control. I think it stops
I'm
here
have to get
for
a boo button.
yeah, that's bad. I can't go. I got a feeling about Doinkface, but it ain't that strong. I think it's close. I think they both score a ton of points. I don't think either one of them can stop the other one. But Lamar Jackson, the speed on that team, Andrews is tight ends are really, really strong in this Madden, and maybe all Maddens, I don't know, but I'm noticing it this one. And Andrews is a freaking just certified stud, and he knows how to use them. Give me the Ravens in a close game, but I will preface this, and this isn't a cop-out. I take the Ravens 100%. Don't be surprised if your Simbardi winner is Doinkface. It's not a surprise, people, if he wins.
I think it's a surprise to literally everybody except for you.
And Doinkface.
No, I think it would surprise him too.
Okay.
I think we are giving him more credit than he would give himself. Which is fine. I'm okay with that. Ratings, right? All right, so Falcons versus Ravens. It's pretty simple here. I think the Ravens are the best team in the league. I think they've been the best team in the league. Well, QP as the owner has been the best team in the league for the last 3 seasons. I think it'll be a close game, but I think the Ravens come out on top. It doesn't really matter in my eyes who they play. I think the one team that can give the Ravens an issue is Faz. And if Faz doesn't get there, then I think the Ravens come out on top. I think Dan is smart enough to challenge, but I just think the talent difference between those two teams is too immense. Now, the talent is a whole lot closer when you bring Tampa Bay into the equation, but like I said, I don't think Tampa Bay gets past Atlanta. So if it comes down to Ravens and Falcons, I mean, how are you going to look at this Falcons roster and say, all right, I can stop elite deep threat Hollywood Brown? Okay, you found a solution for him. Cool. Now how are you going to stop Lamar from scrambling? Oh, okay, you got a solution for that too? All right, fine, but how about running the ball with J.K. Dobbins? How about throwing the ball to Mark Andrews across the middle? You can't defend everything, and QP is just too smart to not utilize all of his options. I think QP is going to win this one. I think we both think QP is going to win this one.
Yeah, I think the story of the cycle is going to be who can dethrone QP. I just don't see it happening this season. I think the elite guys have not the best team, or in Vaz's case, that's a great team, but the quarterback's not developed. I think it'll be Bombers. I think the immediate threat, because his team is there. He's got the overpowered ability. He's proven he can win, obviously, more than just last season. The season he won the Super Bowl. He was great last cycle. He's always great. But QP is the best player in the league. I think he's got one of the best teams in the league, and this is his season. And we have the same champ. We don't have the same Super Bowl, but we have the same champ.
Yes, and I am currently drawing a crown on the Ravens logo. And like I said, I would probably be a little bit upset if this were to actually happen, because, they're my real life team. And maybe I want to be the one that wins the Super Bowl with them. But you know what? I had my chance. Now it's QP's turn. And QP is going to bring the Ravens back to legitimacy and back to the Super Bowl. And they're going to win the Super Bowl. And I'm going to cry but also be happy at the same time.
And that would technically be a back-to-back for QP.
That's going to be a back-to-back. And he's going to have some fun this cycle, I think. You know what? He could compete, and he will compete for multiple titles here. I want to keep talking for about 4 more minutes. So, what's been on your mind, Matt? Tell me something about the SML that grinds your gears or something.
I don't think anything right. Well, okay. Monty saying GG in the first half, or any time before the game is mathematically over, that grinds my gears. And I think it should void the sportsmanship rule. Obviously, that's never going to happen, but not much grinds my gears. There's silly narratives. People say dumb things. Saying GG, he did it versus Colt, I think. It was 7-7, second quarter. I think he lost a fumble or he threw a pick, and he said, good game to Colt. 7-7 in the second quarter. Please stop doing that.
Yeah, I think people do it partially as a joke. I don't think it's a funny joke. I don't think anybody thinks it's a funny joke. I mean, yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I'm not going to call GGs until, you're taking knees on the field. I'm down 14 with 5 minutes left. I'm not out of it.
Absolutely.
I'm certainly not out of it in the first half. I'm certainly not out of it in the first quarter, so I don't care what the situation is. Yeah, okay, maybe if you lose your quarterback or something like that happens, then all right, you're a little upset. But, man, the game's just not over. I mean, backup quarterbacks aren't that bad, right? I agree with you. I don't really have anything else to add to that.
One thing I will say, just as an overall, this is going to be a dynamite playoffs. I don't think even QP, I don't think anybody is expected to run away with this. These are going to be great matchups. Nobody stands out as no one's going to beat him. I am stoked for these playoffs, man. I'll tell you what, I am stoked.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be a ton of fun, and I'm really looking forward to it, and I know you are too. Playoffs will be starting Friday night, so, no later than, 13, 14 hours after this releases. This is supposed to look like a firework, but it doesn't. So that's okay. You can't see it. All right, guys. I think that's going to do it for us. And we're coming in 90 seconds short of 69 minutes. So I'm not going to lie. I was trying to kill some time just to hit 69 minutes, but that's okay. Yeah. All right. Let's get back into it. It's the playoffs. Let's get excited. Let's get some of these games commentated, and let's go. This is going to be a fun one. I'm going to lose immediately, and you're not allowed to call me the folding chair because I said it on the podcast. I'm going to lose, even though I might not. But I'm going to, so no yelling at me if I do. Okay. All right. And Matt's going to lose. Wait, never mind. Okay.
All right. Cut that out.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening in. We'll catch you next time.